An absolute certainty of the writer's room is that the script is going to change. Keeping track of all these changes is a big deal, and it can be a huge pain, especially if someone makes a mistake like forgetting to track changes so now nothing is starred, or copying and pasting from one file to another file so now everything's starred even though most of the text might have stayed the same. Plus, as the script changes, the files multiply, and as they multiply, they spread out to different computers, emailed between script coordinators, episode writers, and showrunners. Now everyone has to keep track of the files, and there are more and more opportunities for problems like people emailing the wrong file, or making their changes in the wrong file, or using different versions of the software. Wouldn't it be nice if all the drafts were one file, so it's easy to navigate, easy to find everything, and you don't have to copy and paste? Wouldn't it be nice if everything was automatically being tracked in the background so you can't forget to track changes or file a draft? Wouldn't it be nice if you could go back and take something you cut from an old draft and automatically put it back in your current draft? Yes, it would be nice. And it is nice with Arc Studio. My name is Micah Craddy, and today I'm going to show you how Arc Studio has changed the game when it comes to draft management. So this is what draft management looks like in Arc Studio. We're looking at the app right now, but of course you can also access your scripts through your web browser because Arc Studio is web-based, kind of like Google Docs, which means that instead of you having to email your script files to everyone, everyone comes to the app and you control who has access. Right now, we're looking at a script called The Untold Powers of Draft Management, a very exciting script that I made for this video. And in the left, we have all the drafts of this script, and they're accessible in your drafts sidebar. If you're not seeing it, you can pin your sidebar open, select drafts, and here you go. At the top, you'll see main draft right here. The main draft is the current draft. It's the current version that you're working on right now. And one of the ways you can tell is that if the background is white, that's the current draft. If you click on an old draft, the background color changes to this recycled paper. So here we have the main draft, the current draft, and then listed below, we have all of your old drafts, the previous drafts that you've filed. You'll see the name, like yellow production draft. You'll see the revision color if you've assigned it a color. You'll see the date that the draft was filed, who filed it, and you'll even see the writers, if you're working with collaborators, you'll see the writers who made changes to that draft. Now, if you want to file a draft to make one like this, you just click Take Snapshot, or you can do the keyboard shortcut that should be on your screen right now. We call it a snapshot because it's like you're taking a photo of your script as it exists at this moment in time. It's a milestone in your project that you want to keep around for future reference, and you can export it as a PDF and distro it. It will always be there. You can always go back and see that draft. If you want to make it a color revision, you just toggle on color revision, and it will automatically assign the next color in the color order. So we had filed the yellow one before, then we were working on green, which is why you can see these green changes. And so we'll file this one as the green production draft. The first time you do a color revision, it'll do white, then blue, then pink. You can also go and change the color order. I'll show you in a moment how to do that. One of the cool things about this is that if you're on a show, if you're in production, your script coordinator will probably be used to creating work in progress files, right? So you'd file the green draft and then you start working on the next one, like Goldenrod. Arc Studio automatically creates that work in progress file. So it says right here, you will be starting work on the revision Goldenrod. So you don't have to create that on file. So all we have to do here is name the file like this, and then we click save, and here we go, green production draft. So now that we have the green production draft, all the future changes are going to be gold. So if we can change this from like nothing to stares off into space, and you'll see that it's gold. Of course, there's other ways you can view the revisions that we're going to get into later, but this is just to show, that we're in Goldenrod. And if you want to make that even more clear, you can change the name of main draft. So you can go up here, click rename, and you can call this something like Goldenrod work in progress, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, let's call it that. Goldenrod work in progress. So now you'll know, okay, I'm working on the Goldenrod script, and then you can, change it when you go on to the next revision. So yeah, like I said, this is the green production draft. We filed it. If you didn't want to do that, like you just wanted to change the color because you got it wrong or you missed something, you can just click here, right click, and do edit name or revision color. And you can change the name. And you can also change the color just by clicking on the dot and then, assigning it a different color, which I'm not going to do because it's the green. I'll just cancel it, but that's how you can change the color. In addition to all the snapshots you've taken, all your official drafts that you're filing, your draft sidebar also contains your autosaves. Autosaves are snapshots that RStudio makes every time you stop working for 10 minutes. So to access them, you can just click on full history. And in full history, you'll basically see like the full timeline of your script. You'll see the snapshots you took, but then in between, you'll see right here, it says 11 autosaves. And you can click on it, right? And these are all the autosaves made between the yellow production draft and the green production draft. So I can click on one of these, like this one right here, and this is the script, during that autosave. So let's say like, oh, this, I forgot to file a draft. I can turn this into a snapshot. I just turn it into snapshot. I can make it a color revision if I want. I can give it a name, and it'll file it, as a draft. You can also go the other way. So let's say like you file the green production draft and you're like, wait, no, this actually isn't the green production draft. You can get rid of it and turn it into an autosave by right-clicking on it, and then you can click Remove Name and Revision Color, and confirm removal. This will turn it into an autosave accessible in the History tab. So it can go both ways. So I've turned change tracking off to show you how to do it. So to start tracking changes, you just come up here to the Changes menu, and you click this little toggle it on, and now all the changes are being tracked. So you can go Changes, and boom. Here, the paragraph is being marked and the word is in blue. It's in blue because right now I have simple changes, which means all the changes are going to be in blue. So no matter who makes the change, what revision they're made in, everything, it's just very simple. But I can change it. I can also go into by revision. So now the change will be goldenrod because that's what we're working on right now, the goldenrod. And I can also go by author, where every author will have their changes in a different color. So why is my change right now in this sort of fuchsia-y color? It's because it matches up with my avatar up here, right? So you can always see the color of the text and then just look and be like, wait, whose color is that? Who made that changes? Who made that change? And if you want to change what that color is, you can just click Share. And right now here, boom, mica, I'll change it to blue or no, not blue, this turquoise color. And then now look, it's this turquoise color. And of course, I can also just hide marks for me. So they're still being tracked, but I'm just not seeing them right now. But the best thing about how RStudio does change tracking is that even if you're not tracking changes, you're still tracking changes. What I mean by that is like, let's say here, you've turned to change tracking off and like you're writing things in the script, you're adding dialogue, you're doing all this stuff, it's the best friend says hi, whatever it is. You have all these changes in the script and then you're like, oh no, I forgot to track changes. That's not a big deal. Because even though changes are off, we're still automatically keeping tabs on everything in the background. So all you have to do is go up to changes and just choose which draft you want to compare the changes to. So since the last draft was green, I'm just going to do green production draft and mark, by, let's just say, simple change. And look, all the changes I made in this draft were marked here. So you can't forget to track changes, which is pretty cool. And again, I can go by revision, so they're goldenrod. I can go by author, so they all match up with my author color. I can change my author color back to this fuchsia, or let's go green. So you have complete control of how you see the changes. What if you have a lot of changes in your script, right? So you have a long script, it's a big revision, and you got stars everywhere. RStudio can help you cycle through all those changes. So I'm just going to go up to the Changes menu. I'm going to change the snapshot we're marking from. Go to an older draft like white production draft. So now there's a lot of changes, right? Because we're looking at everything that's changed between the white production draft way back here and the current draft. So there's lots of stars, and I don't want to have to search through every page, flip through every page to find them. I can use these arrows here to cycle through the changes, just like this. Boom. We're seeing all the changes in the script, and we can go up and down, and it's just an easy way to look through everything and not have to, flip through every page or scroll through every page to see what's changed. So you can hide all the changes through the Changes menu, going up and selecting Hide Marks for Me. So now they're all hidden. And you can display them again, so by revision. So now we're seeing everything from the pink, from the green, from the goldenrod, all the changes. But you can also hide, specific changes using the palette bar here at the bottom. So let's say here we have Lake Smooth Surface. The screenwriter stares off into space. We can highlight Smooth, go down here to the revision marks, and you have a couple options. You can hide selected marks or hide all. If I do hide selected marks, it's just going to do that one mark. So now smooth is no longer marked as a change. If I do hide all, right there, it did the entire paragraph. So that's just one thing to note, that hide all doesn't hide all the changes in the entire script, just the paragraph that you're currently selecting. If you want to hide the changes for the entire script, that's what hide marks for me is up here in the Changes menu. And of course, you can also turn off changes again by selecting turn it off for everyone, or by just toggling it off like that. So we've seen how the tracking changes menu can be helpful when you're looking at your current draft, but it can also be really helpful when you're looking at your older drafts. So for instance, we're going to come over here to the draft sidebar and click on the yellow production draft. And as I do this, notice how the background color is going to change from this white to this off-white color here, because again, it's recycled paper. We're looking at an old draft. It also says the name of the draft up at the top, so you know exactly what you're looking at. So this is the script, as it was the moment I made the snapshot for the yellow production draft. And you'll notice there's no, colored text or anything. It's just the script. But I can come up to the Changes menu, and this gives me a lot of options. I can see all the changes that were made in that snapshot. So for instance, I do Made in this snapshot by author, and this is going to show me all the changes that were made in this snapshot. So in the yellow production draft by author. So I'm green, the fake showrunner I invented for this video is blue, and you can see which changes, that each of us made. I can also see by revision color, which will make it all yellow because it's all the changes in the yellow draft are yellow. And I can also go by type, which is cool. Now, by type shows you everything that was added and cut in this draft, right? So everything that was added in this draft is going to be highlighted in green, and everything that was cut in this draft will be highlighted in red and struck through like this. So you can see, okay, what changed in the yellow production draft? We added this stuff, we cut this stuff. It can be very helpful. There are other options. So you could do Made in this revision. The difference between Made in this snapshot and Made in this revision is kind of small. It's only if there is a snapshot in between the two colored snapshot that doesn't have a color. So right now, I'm using all colored snapshots in a row. But if there was like a pink, then there was like a non-color snapshot, then the yellow. That would make this different. Made in the snapshot would compare between the yellow to the previous snapshot, even if it wasn't a color, whereas Made in this revision compares to the previous revision. So we're going to look at this one, though, the last one, made since this snapshot, which is everything that's happened from this snapshot to the current version of the script, right? So if we do Made since this snapshot by author, click Apply, we are going to see the changes by author. So these are the changes that have happened since the yellow production draft. I made the green ones, the fake showrunner made the blue ones. We can also do this, of course, by revision color. And that makes sense, especially if we go to an older draft, then we can see, oh yeah, this change was made in the pink draft, this was made in the green draft, right? It makes a lot of sense. You may have noticed these purple bars here on the left side of the draft sidebar changing as we looked at the different modes. It's not just decorative. It helps you see exactly what you're looking at. So right now we're looking at everything made since this snapshot, since the white production draft snapshot was taken, since the draft was filed. So we're seeing everything from this moment when it was filed forward. So that's why the purple bars cover all this time. It goes up to the present from the moment it was filed, but the purple bar doesn't cover the white production draft, because with made since the snapshot, you're not looking at the changes made in the snapshot, you're made since it was made. So that's why it starts here and goes forward. If we went to the pink production draft, it'd be the same thing. Everything from since the moment it was taken up to the present. If we want to see the changes in this snapshot, we'd go and change it to made in this snapshot. And now here we go. We're seeing everything from the moment the blue production draft was filed all the way to the pink production draft was filed. So we're seeing all the pink changes, which is why all the changes here in the script are pink. So it's a helpful way for you to keep track of exactly what it is you're looking at. The last thing you can do is made since this snapshot by type. And this is the same as Revert Mode. So you can do made since this snapshot by type and click apply, or just click enable Revert Mode. And what we're going to see is all of these undo bubbles here on the side. And so what are these? Well, what we're looking at is everything that's changed since the white production draft. Everything that's been added since the white production draft is green, and everything that's been cut is red. So this is really helpful because maybe there is something in the script that you cut that you now want back. For instance, a line of dialogue, a joke, even an entire scene. You can bring it back into your script with a click of a button. So for instance, right now I have this dialogue that says, like with Arc Studio, you can undo the changes you made to your script and create alternate drafts to try something new. But I used to have, like with Arc Studio, it's an easy way to manage all your drafts and revisions. So let's say all right, this red it was pithier, it was shorter, I want that back. All I do is go to the side, click here, and select sure, right? And now if I go back to my current draft, I can scroll down right now and that's been added. Like with Arc Studio, it's an easy way to manage all your drafts and revisions. So I kind of just went back in time, found something from an old draft, and brought it into my current draft. I want to take a moment just to highlight how difficult what we just did would be if you were using Final Draft. First off, all your old scripts wouldn't be right here. You'd have to go and open them up one by one. And second, when you opened them, you wouldn't see all your changes highlighted. So it'd be a lot harder to find them and a lot harder to get back to it. So, instead of a list like this, you'd have a folder and you'd have to open up all of the files and search through the files and then, get it from there into your current draft. I started this video by saying that scripts change, right? That's just going to happen no matter what. The showrunner is going to have notes, the studio network is going to have notes, there's going to be budgetary cuts and all sorts of things, schedule issues, you're going to have changes. A lot of times you know what the change is and you just go in and you make the change, right? But sometimes you may not know exactly what the change is. For instance, you're reading your script and you're like, all right, this intro isn't working, or the end of my script isn't working. I wanna try something different. But I don't want to mess the script up. I'm going to be making all these changes. I don't want stars popping up. I just want to kind of have a private little sandbox where I can play and make my changes. That's where alternate drafts comes in. So if we look over here in the sidebar, we'll see this thing here that says alternate draft. And this basically creates an alternate parallel draft that you can make changes to without affecting the main draft. So you just click on alternate draft and you can give it a description. Like, why are you creating this? I'm just going to say all right, I'm going to try a new intro just because I don't like the old one, right? And if you want, you can start marking changes so you can see what you've changed for the alternate draft. Again, it won't affect the main draft. And I click create. Now, if I look over here on the side, I'll see my main draft, but also this alternate draft. It's kind of like a parallel history. So, I can go in here and I can make changes. I can, cut this stuff that I added just for the video. I can, do whatever I want to it. Instead of skipping stones, I can say, at the end of the dock, watching the sunset, right? Or I can just do something crazy, because you'll notice this little lock up here. This is hidden, right? Alternate drafts are hidden. They're private drafts. So you have the freedom to try things without someone being like, what are you doing? That's crazy. It's not going to work. But then maybe you create something that you like and you want to share it with people. You can then just come over here to the side and click unhide. Once you click unhide, your collaborators can see what you've done. So alternate drafts is a great way to try something new, experiment, figure things out in a way that's not going to mess up your main script. And then you can have it private until you're ready to share it with people, and then they can come and look at them, and then you can, implement those changes in the main draft of the script. All right, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video useful. You can also find more information in the Help Center at the Arc Studio website. Until next time, happy writing.